Hi, it's Fran from Living Your Greatest Life. I just wanted to make a quick video about targeted parents and how difficult it can become to say the right things. So very often targeted or alienated parents are stuck in a kind of conversation. If they're kind of lucky enough to have any contact with their children and they're being targeted, they're stuck in conversational loops which aren't particularly not particularly healthy. And sometimes even as a kind of responsible adult, it's very hard to know how to respond to targeted children. So it can become that as parents you can become like immediately defensive, I think, especially with any sort of allegations or accusations and any kind of, I suppose, volatile or confrontational kind of conversations which are almost like an echo chamber of the ex-partner. The targeted parent may not, you're not responsible for that targeting, but sometimes I think people can exacerbate that. And very much, there's some sort of things that can be said to you, like, for example, it's easy for you to be accused of something or to be told something, and the immediate response is, hang on, that's not true. And that in itself can be obviously quite damaging. The child would say, well, you don't love me, you don't care. And the adult might say, well, that's not true. But actually, when you sit and think about it, what it's actually doing is it's sort of denying the way that your child may feel, and you're missing the opportunity to connect with that child. And that's really not what we want. So I'm saying I think it's really important to think about the responses, and maybe think about some responses, some pre-made responses that are going to be more bonding and less exacerbating. Another thing that I know some parents have said is, that's a lie. So, for example, being told that dad's done this and dad's done that, and the person says, no, that's a lie. And in actual fact, if you think of it from the child's perspective, in that situation, you're actually, if you were to respond like that, you're actually calling that child a liar in a way, which is really not what they want. They're already struggling within that kind of separation period and any issues that are going on there. Rather than calling the child a liar, it might be a better response to kind of say, that must have really hurt for you to feel that I said that, or that I am this, or that must really hurt for you to think that I would do A, B and C. And that way I think you're connecting more with the child. But it's something that people don't really think about, because they're being victimized at the time and accused of all sorts of things, and told all kinds of untruths. I think another thing, when there is any allegation, is to say, like, I don't know, say like somebody had said, well, you never used to work. The tendency to say, well, who told you that? Well, what you're actually doing is, I guess, insinuating that it is the other parent that had said that. So therefore, again, causing a bigger rift and making the child feel more stuck in the middle, and more like actually the child wants to defend the other parent further. So that actually exacerbates it. Some children in that, when they're targeting parents, can be very rude and unkind, say some unkind things, be quite challenging. One thing, for example, if a parent said, well, how dare you speak to me in this way? That is also shutting down communication, and that child who's angry and upset obviously is taking it out on you, and that shuts down, a response like that will shut down the communication. So that's not probably a good thing either. Again, with things like, well, that's not true. Well, how do they know that's not true? That's what they've been told, that's what they have perceived from the situation, or had drummed into them. And again, if you say, well, you know that's not true, that's insinuating again that the child is lying. And no matter how old this child is, even if even if they're older, especially with teenagers, that's going to cause more of a problem and actually put them, without meaning to, put them in a worse situation. A better way to respond might be, well, I'm sorry that you feel like that, and thank you for telling me. Thanks for telling me that. What could we do to make this better for you? At the end of the day, targeted parents can, without meaning to, they can actually exacerbate the situation and deepen that targeting through their own responses. Not meaning to, of course, but I think it's really important to think in more depth about how people respond in that way, because it's really easy to become defensive straight away, no matter how grounded you are, especially if the other parent is very toxic, has a narcissistic personality. I think you may have spent a large part of the time defending your character. So give it some thought, and maybe think about having some pre-made responses. As awful as it sounds, I think you might actually find that there's more kind of connection with the child if you can respond differently and not in the way that you would naturally respond, and not question that. So that's all from me, and I'll see you in my next video.